If not for journalists, I have no idea if I had any skill set. I was the child of the Bombay riots, the communal riots. I was a 9-year-old when that happened, right? So very early in life, I was made aware of what my faith is. I was an abnormal child. When people used to take, holidays from school for like playing, I used to take holidays from school at the age of 9 to watch the election results. That matters. I was an obsessive child when it came to elections. So I am constantly asked to give other people choices but I am not allowed to choose myself. I'm always asked to choose other people. I think it was Time magazine or somebody who said I'm one of the most abused women in the world.
My guest today is one of the most fearless voices of our time. Rana Ayyub is one of the best investigative journalists in India. She's known for her uncompromising reporting on politics, human rights, and justice in India. In this conversation, we'll explore her journey, the cost of speaking the truth, and the resilience it takes to keep going. Hi, Rana, how are you?
I am doing very well today. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good too. First day in Mumbai, so very excited to be here.
How's it so far?
It's been great. Honestly, us Dubai people get very excited when we see the rain.
You came bang in the middle of the rain.
Right. And I was like, oh gosh, rain. And I stopped outside the airport to look at it and everyone was like, is she okay? And I was like, water.
We have a unique monsoon. Yes.
I know, yes. But I know that I'm very lucky to catch you here. You're always in and out. But Rana, I'm sure everybody knows who you are a little bit, but I want to know about the journey when we talk about journalism. When did it start for you?
Well, I always say that, it's a thing I say, that if not for journalists, I have no idea if I had any skill set. Like, I really don't think I have.
True.
I really don't think I have a skill set. I can't even ride a bike, right?
Me too.
I can't ride a bike. I don't have any skill sets. But my father is a writer still. He was a part of the progressive writers movement in India. So he's an author of multiple Urdu books, a revolutionary. Wow. So I feel like probably my father says it's in the genes, but I think it was more than that. So I was a child of the Bombay riots, the communal riots. I was a 9-year-old when that happened, right? So very early in life, I was made aware of what my faith is, right? And then in the year 2002, there was a communal carnage in India, an anti-Muslim riot in the state of Gujarat, and I went there as a relief worker. And I felt like when I was meeting people, I felt like this is what I do better. Like when I speak for people, when I write about them, I used to take notes. I wasn't even a journalist then, right? And I was just there as a relief worker. But I felt like I think I'm a better person when I'm speaking for other people and when I'm telling the stories of other people. And it comes very naturally to me. I'm a very talkative person. I talk to everybody, right? So I feel like it came naturally to me, and I feel like if not for journalism, I don't think I would not be doing anything else. It's been a great journey so far, alhamdulillah. I have been. I started very, very early. This is almost like probably my 19th or 20th year in journalism. I started at the age of 19, going undercover. At a very early age, getting ministers arrested at a very early age. I don't think anybody signs up for that. It's not a glamorous profession. We all look glam, but it's not a glamorous profession. Too many hiccups, too many challenges, too many cases, legal cases. So one jet I just got a notice just before I got here. So yeah, it's a profession of challenges. But I know that when I go to sleep every night, it gives me a satisfaction that I've done something that makes an impact.
Right. But for you, I'm sure even the definition of what being a journalist has evolved over the years, right? Today, how would you define the job of a journalist?
I think the job of a journalist was always to bear witness, right? Speaking truth to power. And one thing that I've realized over the years is the idea of being objective in journalism. It's like, you go there, take one person's viewpoint and then take the other person's viewpoint. I think what has categorically been an important thing for me is the definition between the oppressor and the oppressed. Who do you speak for? Do you speak for the oppressor or do you speak for the oppressed? And that is a definition that has got me into a lot of trouble because I choose to be somebody whose journalism is for the oppressed. right? And when you do that, you're taking on the oppressors, right? Which is the mighty and the people in power, right?
Mhm.
So that has happened when that happens, you spend a good deal of your time in courts and in tribunals as opposed to doing your reporting. And then there comes a fatigue, right? Because you wake up every morning, you want to do your journalism, but there are also other challenges facing it. Besides, of course, the mental health challenges, right? Because it's not always easy to do
Right.
the kind of journalism that you do, right? There is a lynch mob out there on social media which is willing to dissect you and your personal life and your professional life and your families. So, back in the day, journalism without social media, without big television sets, 24/7 TV, journalism was going to the field, reporting, publishing, and coming back home. Now the drill is different. Now you report, come back home, deal with a virtual lynch mob on Twitter, and then you get multiple court notices, and then you speak to your lawyers, and then you wonder, should I publish the story or not? And you end up publishing that story. So now journalism is like too many challenges. I wish it wasn't. In fact, I went to a journalism college the other day, and I was telling the students, I said, hey, next year onwards, you guys need to have a special module how to deal with court cases while being a journalist. So that's the new definition about, and it's not just an India-centric thing; it's a global thing.
Right.
We see what's happening in America, we see what's happening in Sudan, we see what's happening in Turkey. It's happening everywhere in the world, right? India is not an aberration. What's happening to journalists here is a norm. It's a norm globally. To be a journalist in the world in this day, we are witnessing what's happening in Gaza. So I feel like, well, we are no longer just journalists, we are witnesses. And that's what we are right now, bearing witness.
Absolutely. And that's one thing I will deep dive a little bit later, the rise of social media and how does that impact how we consume news in the first place. But my other question still about your personal journey at this point is journalism. And we know we have a mutual friend, Mehreen, who I love. And she's always talking to me about, she's usually the youngest and the only woman journalist in a room. And I'm sure this is true for you as well. How is it like being a woman in such a male-dominated industry where sometimes you enter the newsroom and it's just you?
Well, today in 2025, things have changed so much. But when some of us got into journalism, say about 2006, 2007, like primarily into television, I remember my first editor saying that you can do lifestyle, entertainment, because we need glam figures. And if there's an occasional rape or sexual harassment case, because we need a woman to cover that. And I said, so I remember telling my editor, but I want to do political journalism because I was an abnormal child. When people used to take, holidays from school for like playing, I used to take holidays from school at the age of 9 to watch the election results on that matters. I was an obsessive child when it came to elections. So I'm telling my editor very naively, saying, you know what, I want to do political journalism. And he said, in a very confident way, he says, you know what, Rana, political journalism is not easy. Men sit with politicians, have a drink or two, and then they kind of get their stories. So we were told that women, in a way, are an impediment. They make journalism tougher. They're not built for tough journalism. Their brains are not equipped to handle an analysis and war reporting and conflict reporting. How about you do entertainment and lifestyle? So basically, you doll up and you meet
Look
other
pretty.
look
Yeah.
pretty. I remember one of them told me, if you really want to go on television, how about straightening your hair? I said, why? He said, because curly hair does not look good on TV. So you don't look like a journalist. So there's so many definitions of how a woman needs to look on television. When and how do you accord her the seriousness of a journalist, right? And if you're younger enough, I remember once a politician said, you sounded very serious on the phone. I said, I had to because you didn't take me seriously otherwise, right? Imagine a 22-year-old coming to you and it's like, oh, another girl has come in. And of course, being a journalist, when it is not popular for women to be journalists, comes with its own challenges, right? You always have to look over your shoulder. You always have to worry because not everything is the same. Sometimes interviews are at 10 in the night. And then people are like, oh, we told you it's not going to be easy. You chose this. It's not like you are going to create an equitable atmosphere for journalists.
Yeah.
But hey, we told you it's going to be challenging. So why not? So you're dealing with politicians who sent you pesky messages at 11 in the night. You're dodging that. You're like, okay, how do I dodge this? And I mean, now we have Me Too, right? Back in the day, we didn't have Me Too.
Right.
So we have dealt with all of that. Women journalists have to deal with so many more layers. And of course, if you are in situations where you're in a jungle, you're going to report on issues and you get your periods, God forbid. And there you are in the middle of a jungle. There is no chemist. And then you tell your editors, like, we told you it's going to be difficult. It's not like, see, it's all your fault.
Yeah.
But now I feel it's still a lot easier than what it was, say, 10, 15 years ago.
Okay.
And now I see women asserting themselves. And I keep bringing about Gaza because you see all the amazing women that I'm interviewing from Gaza, whether it is Bisa Nauda or whether it's Hind Khawdari or Plestiala Qad, amazing women, right? Who are at the forefront telling you news. So we are breaking barriers, but breaking barriers comes with an entire generation of women fighting for us to be where we are today.
Right.
And it's still not there. We are still not in the top positions of various publications. And one woman, God forbid, goes in a top position. There are a million out there willing to criticize her for decision making. So it's tough. It's incredibly tough.
But what kind of changes would you want to see in this industry to make it easier on the female journalists?
I don't know what changes, but I do remember when I released my book, Gujarat Files. It was one of the Gujarat Files. It was one of the probably first events. It was a Times Lit Fest in Delhi, the Times of India Lit Fest. And I was in the audience. Somebody from the audience got up and said, but Rana, don't you think journalism is easier for you? You're a young girl with curly hair. You walk into a room, politicians give you interviews as it is. So you don't have to do a lot of hard work. How do you change the perception of a woman journalist? Right? And why am I supposed to make myself uglier or de-glamorous? I don't know if that term is ever used for men, right? I think you have to change the mentality of the people who are working at the workplace. You have to make it safer for them. You have to make their voices heard, not just making them look pretty and make them sit on television screens. You have to hear their voice, right? There is a great deal of patriarchy that exists not just in the media, but across the spectrums that we work in. And unless that patriarchy goes, there's not many glass ceilings that we can really at this point of time break. There's a great deal of patriarchy at every single level. For instance, when a woman journalist is harassed and a male journalist is targeted, they're two very, very different ways in which they're targeted. A woman is accused of being promiscuous, of a loose character, and she's targeted because how else? A corrupt woman is not really something that they want. They want a woman who is debauched and promiscuous, right? So that is what we need to address. And we are still talking about women in urban spaces. If we talk about women in spaces in rural areas in India, who are doing journalism, right? If they are harassed, they don't even want to go back home and tell their parents that, hey, I was harassed. Then they would say, we told you not to do this.
Stay at home.
They are fighting to be where they are today, right? To do the journalism. And if they go back and complain that, hey, I was harassed and I was attacked or I was assaulted, they would not be allowed to do the journalism that they are doing today. And a lot of good journalism is coming from not cosmopolitan cities in India, but from the villages,
right?
From the cities, we're not even from journalists who don't have social media platforms, who don't have a public profile, who are doing a lot of the heavy lifting. So that's journalists like us can go and pursue those stories, right? They don't have the kind of shield and protection. Like I am on the jury of 2 or 3 biggest journalism awards, and I'm prejudiced, right? I'm prejudiced towards women. So I first see the woman. I say it unabashedly, right? Because women, it's taken a lot of time for women to be where they are today. So I'm going to first look at the woman, and depending on where they're coming from, off late, I'm giving a lot of attention to journalists in Africa. They are not spoken about.
Right.
There's so many journalists in West Africa, especially women journalists, who we're not even talking about. So I think I think we all make mistakes, and then that's what patriarchy does to us, right? Growing up, you don't realize that, okay, this is also something that I needed to look at. So now I'm learning myself. And that for me has been a big revelation, that I'm learning how patriarchy functions. And that's what happens when you get to a position of power and when you become a public voice. It's your responsibility to uplift other women and bring them to the position And so when I get journalists who write to me for referrals for awards, and even if I'm in the dumps, I write it for them, especially women. And on my Substack, which is a huge platform, I made sure that young women journalists got platform. So it is challenging, but the only way above is I have not many expectations of men. I'm sorry to say that. I really am. Everybody is looking out for their own tribe. So I'm going to look for my tribe.
Right.
Which is the women who are oppressed and the women who come from the marginalized communities in India and abroad. Yes.
I love how you talked about the impacts of patriarchy and how you said that people point out your hair and your glam a lot. And I think this is something we don't talk enough about how, a lot of times men are being forced to become lean a little bit more into their masculine when they come on camera. And I love how you are always glammed up. But do you think the way we dress and what we wear can really impact how confident we feel? Before we get to the rest of the episode, I just wanted to let you know that we have opened Dubai's only co-working space and podcast studio under one roof. We have this set and this set for you to choose from and customize. You can work from here, or here, or here, or host your event here or here. Welcome to the Pen by Marina Pearl. You can book using the link in the description box below.
I mean, we are asked to be invisible. When you go to interview a male politician, make yourself harmless. It's not like, what do you mean by make yourself harmless or somebody who is unattractive or unglamorous? Sometimes, I mean, it's like, oh, you have to look at yourself 10 times in the mirror. Am I doing something wrong? But all you're doing is just washing your hair, coming out of the shower, putting on a lipstick and just be doing your bare minimum, right? There was a time I used to only wear long tunics and jeans so that, and wear a dupatta just to be like, am I safe? I hope I'm not obstructing you. I hope I'm not distracting you from the interview, right? Men don't have to look at, men have to be they have to be in those power suits and they go and with gel on their hair. Women have to be like, oh, I have to dull up. I have to look duller than this. I have to be unattractive, right?
Don't attract too much attention.
Don't attract too much attention. Like on my social media, a lot of my friends are like, don't put your selfies and don't put your vacation pictures on social media. I'm like, why? And they said, because people won't take your journalism seriously. And I'm like, why are you not taking me as a human? Are journalists not humans? Why am I supposed to be a different personality? Why am I supposed to project only one side of my personality? Because I'm also a human being. It's like when, I don't want people to think that Rana Ayyub is just this. I'm also this. I'm an entire human being. I'm a full person. I also go on vacations when I'm also doing serious stuff, but I also go on vacations and I also wear vacation clothes. If it's a problem, if I'm looking glamorous, that's for you to deal with.
Right.
I'm not going to de-glam myself. And I'm not going to, God forbid, I mean, sometimes I stay in my bedroom for 7 days at a stretch. Nobody sees that kind of, when I'm like, when glamming up is just taking a shower by the end of the day, right? We do that kind of stuff as well. But even being natural, I think what is being defined as glamorous these days is somebody even just speaking out without filters. Even that is considered bold and outrageous and glamorous, right? I a lot of times men tell me that they feel intimidated by me, all right? And I sometimes I just look at myself and I ask my female friends, like, do you find me intimidating? And they're like, no, you're very warm as a person. You're very nice. You're warm and nice. I like to hear those words. But I don't know, when it comes to men, they always find me intimidating. I don't know what part. I think I need to wear.
Have you ever asked a man?
I have.
And
they always say, no, it's not your, it's just that you're not intimidating, but sometimes you have very strong opinions. So I get my answers, right? It's like I have to be a little more subdued. I have to subdue my personality. Sometimes I just do not talk. When I go on dates, I just do not talk. I'm a great listener. I'm like, I'm not going to speak my opinion. I'm not going to speak my mind because it has to be a good date. So I'm going to only talk about the frothy stuff and the easy stuff, right? But the thing is, you are who you are, and I can't change my personality.
Yeah, how long can you hide it?
How long can I hide it? At some point of time, it's going to come up, and it's going to be that person, right? And I'm unapologetic about it, and I don't want to be any other way, because if I do, then I'm setting a precedent for the young journalists and the young women and the young achievers out there, saying, "Oh, if we have to really make it big, then we have to subdue a part of our personality." I am not willing to do that.
Right. But how did you figure out your style, by the way?
How did I figure out my style?
Yeah.
One thing, it was linear. It's like I always wear black. because somehow I was an obese kid, all right? I was like, and also I in school, I went to a school which was very very it was more like a Marathi medium, so it was government school, right? Where I went to, and I went to an all-girls school, all-girls college, all-girls degree, all-girls post-grad.
No way.
Because I was scared of men. All right, I was that introverted kid who stood at the back of the bench. Nobody. Now, of course, people who know me from back then think it's a bipolar personality.
Right.
That a bipolar personality has taken over, right? So I used to be like this kid in those two pigtails and two ponies with oil in my hair and shalwar kameezes all the way till the time I was 21. Ask anybody in my journalism college, do Rana ever wear jeans? And they would say no, right? It's just that I just realized that I just wanted to, I sometimes wore clothes like jeans and shirt to just come across as more manly. I'll be very honest, because there was a time I was interviewing the underworld gangsters and their families, right? There was a time I was meeting politicians. I felt like I needed to dress up in a way that was assertive and that would not, and it was also it was also a defense mechanism.
Right.
I did not want people to think that I'm weak. That's how women think, right? When they do all the stories that they do. It's like, I want to come across as somebody who's strong and I want to wear. So I used to go to, I wouldn't buy women's shirt. I used to go to like all the male outlet for men's shirts and buy the smaller size and wear those boxy shirts and trousers and those bottle green army type trousers, fatigue trousers, and tie my hair up and wear glasses just to come across as somebody who's really strong. Deep down, I was still a scared kid. There were two personalities masking up at the same time, right? Because I wanted nobody to see me as a weak child, because I was a weak child. I was somebody who was born with a polio of the left hand and the right leg. I was a handicapped child in school. So I saw so much of sympathy for me that I wanted to be done away with the sympathy. I wanted people to see me for my work. I did not want that sympathy. And I was like, everybody would say, Bichari Rana, poor thing, the youngest kid in the house who was, who had a polio, who was scared of men. So poor thing, I failed class 12 twice, right? I was that kind of a failure that my family would be like, what are we going to do with her, right? So I felt like my entire life, I was always proving a point. So the style was a consequence of me trying to prove a point, being very assertive. I, for the longest time, I would not wear my hair curly till I decided, let me just do it the way that I want it to be. I was told very often, it distracts people, tie it up. And then I would listen to people. And then the rebellious bit would come out and say, why are you doing that? You're people pleasing. I mean, we are people pleasers.
We are.
We're all people pleasers, right? You want to adapt to what people say. But then I would realize I'd get panic attacks when I would adapt. I feel like I get panic attacks when I listen to what people say. I'm easier like this. Yeah.
So many things I want to take on there from what you've been talking about, but obviously the one that caught my attention was, let's talk about the dating life a little bit before we go into anything else. I know you've talked about this before, but how is dating as a woman who is a public figure, who gets a lot of hate online, who's also intimidating apparently to men?
Yeah. So I think my dating, I've realized this after years of probably going on those once in a while dates that my friends set me on with, or probably on Raya, which everybody is doing these days.
Yes.
Right? No, I'm not. This is not a brand endorsement for Raya. I'm just saying. But it's just, it's difficult because all of us come with our respective baggages, right? So growing up, I had a polio when I was a child, and I would not go out with men. I went to an all-girls school, college degree, postgrad, because I was scared. I was scared of how would I come across. I had a massive inferiority complex. I still do. Probably it's lurking somewhere. It gets camouflaged in all the in the way we kind of come across. Right. We try to put across this facade of who we are, but deep down there's this child inside which is still lurking and saying, "You're not pretty. You're not glam, you're not this, you are still," and probably that plays a huge role. But having said that, I think yes, with my public profile, Men Google me and then they disappear, which is like not a very pleasant sight. But I feel like I meet a lot of women internationally when I go on global platforms, women who are doing really well. Is that you need a man who is super confident of who you are and comfortable with who you are, right? I don't think you would want to change your personality for somebody, right? At the end of the day, the basic requirement is for a man to just say, babe, I've got your back. It's very simple.
He's really not asking for
It's
much.
really, the bar is so low.
So low.
You are really asking for a man to say, I know you're doing this work. And I don't even want you to say, hey, I'm proud of you. None of that. I do that. I mean, I don't even, probably if it comes great, I mean, I don't mind a compliment
Yeah,
here or
does it?
there, right? Like, hey, babe, you're doing good work.
Yeah.
But somebody who could just say on your bad days, when you're dealing with all those court cases and everything, not on the days you get the awards and stuff, but generally on bad days saying, I know you're doing the right thing and I've got your back, right? And you'll be surprised to know that that bare minimum is also very difficult, not just for me, but for many, many women to find. You come across as, so I've tried to understand why men think I'm intimidated. I think I try to take feedback from people. Some of them say you're too passionate when you're talking about these subjects and you're always political, right? You always get too involved in things. You can't detach. I take that feedback. I agree I am passionate. I agree that I'm too involved in what I'm doing. And I agree I cannot detach at times, but I'm also, but we are living in times that we cannot be apolitical, right? I can't go on dates with people who say, hey, I'm apolitical. When you're saying you're apolitical, you're also telling me that you're privileged. You're too privileged. You do not care about what's going on in the world. And how do I get along with somebody who is that privileged, who's so insulated from the world when I really care about what's happening in the world? Our worlds collide right there, which is why probably they find me intimidating. Probably that is what is intimidating, for lack of a better word for them.
Right.
I'm guessing what they're trying to say is we are privileged and we don't want to lose our privilege, right? I think dating by and large for women out there is getting really tough because women have realized that they are not going to tone down or be a lesser person to just be in a relationship, right? And just be told that, hey, I've got your back.
Yeah.
And as much as I'm a very old school romantic, my mother raised me on a dose of 90s, 70s, 80s Bollywood.
Oh, same.
Right? All the Bollywood. And you grew up wanting to be married by the time you were 23. I was on Shadi.com at 24. Right? Shit, I said that. Right? and really, for a very small bit. And I did meet somebody incredibly nice when I was 26 who was shot dead, right? He was a human rights lawyer.
Oh my God.
And I really liked him quite a bit. But then again, I haven't felt I have met somebody who I look at and say, I'm incredibly proud of you. Whatever you are doing, I don't care. You don't have to be high profile. Somebody who just has the gravitas to stand for his values, right? Somebody who's just proud of me the way I am, who's not trying to alter my personality, who's not trying to run away when I'm in trouble, right? Who's not going to say, oh my God, there's a lynch mob out there, right? Somebody, a guy I know of, once sent me this article, right, on Twitter or some Twitter post, which said Rana Ayyub sleeps with people to get her stories. Of course, how do women get their stories? They sleep with men, that's how.
Yeah.
He had the audacity to send it to me, right? And what are we supposed to do as women, right? I'm like, wow, is this a character certificate? Right?
Ew.
So men need character certificates too, besides on a dating platform. I think they also need to, on dating apps, they also need to, like, women need to attach their character certificates. And that's what happens when you are in the public eye. Because, how has a woman become so successful? Unless she has, unless she looks glamorous or unless she sleeps around, how has she become, how has she reached the position that she has? How is she getting all the critical stories that she has? And how do you dumb down a woman? Right? You discredit her work and you discredit her personal life and you discredit her professional life. Nobody knows that I spend most part of my time in my house, in a suburb, with my nephew, playing Lego with him all day, right? Nobody sees that. I don't want, and it's like, I don't, and when somebody said, one of my therapists said, why don't you let men know who you really are? And I'm like, why do I have to give so much explanation to men about who I really am?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't they believe what they see? Why do I have to give explanation?
Yeah. And they got to earn access to that information as
Right.
well, right? Not everybody deserves it.
That will happen when you become a part of my inner circle, my world. You want to see from the exterior, you want to touch and run. I'm sorry, that's not how relationships work.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get to Google me and see me on television sets and decide that's not what I want to be with. You have to spend time with me, all right, and know who I am.
Mm-hmm.
We have to, and then probably decide. I think people decide by what they see on television. They decide. Like, I remember my mom, you know how desi moms are. She got me a proposal, like arranged marriage proposal, and she said, "You know what this guy's mom said?" I said, "Tell me." She said in Hindi, "It's like TV pe itna bolti hai, ghar pe kitna bolegi." Right? She speaks so much on TV. She's going to speak so much at home, right? And this is coming from. And then there was somebody I know who was from an Ivy League, very, very came from a very good family, and he said, "Would you be willing to leave your profession once you get married?" And I said, "No, why is that?" He said, "No, because we have a lot of business dealings, etc. We don't want to get into trouble." So I said, that's basically a code word for saying you are trouble when you're working. So how about you give up everything that you love?
Yeah. Then we can take you in.
And then we can take you in.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm willing to make that sacrifice because no man would ever be asked to make that sacrifice. Right? I don't think I am willing to make, and I think what I'm doing is respectable. It's honorable. And I'm not willing to dull myself down for a man.
And you shouldn't.
I shouldn't.
But even last night we were having a conversation after dinner where this guy told me that he's been on the best date ever when we went out on a date.
All right.
And I just remember that in that date, he didn't ask me a single question. I just asked because this is my job. So I ask questions all the time.
Right.
And he talked about himself the whole time. So he thought, this is amazing.
As long as you keep listening, you are the best date ever.
Yeah. As long as you understand that this is about me.
It isn't. It is. It is.
And it's crazy to think that all these like boys who are our age, who are as successful as we are, but I feel like they are stuck in time somewhere when it comes to finding a partner.
No, I think 48-year-old, 50-year-old men are still looking for 22-year-old woman partners. Right. I think it's like, and we're always told, men mature pretty late. No, they mature pretty much at the same time as we do. I'm sorry, we have to stop cutting them this slack that men mature, take their own time.
Give them the time. Yeah.
Give them the time to mature, as if like we were never given the privilege of taking our time to mature. I matured at the age of 9 when I was burning political posters because a mob came and burned down our house. I was not given the time to mature and say, oh, you've got this choice and you've got this choice. I was never given the choice. Nobody in my life has ever given me a choice to be like, oh, you can be this person or you can be that person. So I am constantly asked to give other people choices where but I am not allowed to choose myself. I'm always asked to choose other people. When am I choosing myself? And the moment you choose yourself, you become a difficult person to date. That is a big problem.
Yeah.
Yes, you can't choose yourself. You can't choose. You have to choose the time and place at which the guy wants to meet you. You have to tone yourself down. If you are a public figure, God forbid, then you have to be constantly apologetic and never talk about your achievements so that it doesn't hurt the other person's ego. If that is a scenario, I just want, and the demands, like I said, it's like all we're asking for is some confidence, right? And some humility.
Right.
And some strength of character.
Just kindness.
And just kindness. We're not materialists, right? We're just asking for bare minimum.
Yeah. But that's where it is. But I think society has a big role to play in this because I remember I watched this experiment that they did, social experiment, where they brought in little 3 and 5-year-old kids, boys and girls, and they gave them dessert to eat and they had put salt in that dessert.
Okay.
And they gave it to everyone and they brought the chef and the chef was like, I made this for all of you. I hope you like it. And it's individually they experimented. All the boys immediately spit it out, being like, this is disgusting. And all the girls are like, this is nice, well done. And this shows you that at that age, girls have been shown to have the empathy to not hurt someone's feelings.
Absolutely.
Right? And that's how we grow up. We carry this with us as we grow up and we keep thinking, don't take too much space. Make sure the other person is comfortable. You don't have a choice in anything, but give other people choices. And I think that's where we are kind of like stuck. And I think hopefully that means that we're at the tipping point where something better comes. Hey, dreamers, quick pause from the convo. If you are wondering what the Dreamers Digest is, it's my exclusive online community where I share behind the scenes goodies, lessons from building this podcast, and all the juicy stuff that never makes it to the final cut. If you're not in it yet, check the link in the show notes and come join us. It's 100% free. Also, shocking fact, 89% of you watching this on YouTube right now are not even subscribed. Wild, right? So if that's you, go ahead and hit that button. It would mean the world to me. And now, super exciting news. We launched the Podcast Academy. This is where I've poured everything I've learned from taking this show to 150 million views and turning it into a real business. It's 10 powerful modules packed with tools to help you launch, grow, and actually monetize your podcasts. You'll even get the chance to submit your episode for personal feedback from me and my team. If you've been thinking about starting a show or scaling the one you already have, this is your sign. Click the link in the description box below to learn more. Now, back to the episode.
Yeah. And it also comes from the way we were raised. We might have been raised in modern families, but we were raised by the same strain of patriarchy. Right? Our mothers were told by their mothers that you have to accommodate the man first, his needs first. You have to be accommodating. You have to, even if your guest come at your house at midnight, you have to treat them to a feast, even if you're tired. So that automatically runs in the family. So I can be whatever I am in my public preferred life, right? But when guests come home, I myself see that. I rush to the kitchen to, help my mom on Eid and Bakr Eid and all of the feasts. You see all the women are in the kitchen all the time. So you can be wherever you are in life. At the end of the day, whether you like it or not, we are the caregivers.
Yeah.
We are the caregivers.
Okay, but Rana, I need some hope here. Come on. Inject some hope into this whole dating scene for all the young women watching us.
For all the young women watching us, do not dull your personality to date somebody. Do not. I don't know what to say. You are talking to a single woman. I'm sorry. I really wish. I've gone on some really interesting dates. I've not followed up. I feel like, or sometimes nobody has followed. As the man has not followed up. He's of course gone and read my article and realized that chaos. Right? I'm not ready for this. Fair, but that's also, it's also, I don't know, what do I give? How do I sell optimism to the woman watching it? There's nothing wrong with you. I can tell you this. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you. I see such amazing women out there doing such amazing stellar work, right? They've evolved. Women have come of age. Right? They really have come of age. I think men need to up their game. So if they do not up their game, it's not your fault.
Right.
And there are a lot of good men out there too. My father, my brother, my nephews are amazing. They're young boys. So probably they will also make for great partners. I hope.
Yeah. And you know what they say? They say that the Gen Zs are going to be good husbands for the 40-year-old women now. So maybe that's your new pool.
I don't see okay. All right.
Like, no comments.
No comments. I don't. Why shouldn't women our age date younger men?
Yeah, why not?
Why not? If 50-year-old men are still dating women in their 20s, why shouldn't women just stick to their age group or older men? Women should always marry men or date men who are like 5-10 years older than them, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see.
It's about time we change that perception as well.
Absolutely. But thank you for sharing some hope with us about this.
It's cynical, but I'm still giving you hope.
But I want to bring you back to the confidence conversation that we started. And obviously, while doing your research and everything I've heard about you, and also it's crazy, in my comment section, everyone, when I said I'm going to India, I got so many people that tagged you. And they're like, you need to bring Rana. And I know it's because you probably don't go on podcasts a lot, so people don't really hear from you. But everything that you've been through, all the backlash, and you literally joke about it now, you're like, yeah, I had to come back. I have a court case and all of this. But how does this impact you as a person? Did you build a callus against it, against the online hate, especially in a digital world that we are today? As you said, you are constantly bombarded with all these things, and people at any time can reach you in your DMs, in your comment section. Even I get it. But how do you protect your mental health in all of this?
I think it was Time magazine or somebody who said I'm one of the most abused women in the world, right? I'm really
Wow.
one of the, I mean,
What a title.
it is quite a bit of a title. It's one of the most abused women in the world. At any given point of time, if you open my DMs, it's one thing to be called a prostitute or an escort or whatever, to abuse, and then to kind of bring in the nephews and nieces in the conversation, right? Pick
Oh
up
my
their
God.
pictures and kind of attributing a lot of hate to them. So my conversations, I now have a new therapist who deals with trauma and journalism related trauma, and being somebody who's a public figure. And sometimes I tell her, I feel lonely. And that's a common theme that runs in my conversations with her. She said, are you lost? Are you lonely? Are you alone? I said, all of it. She said, you're not alone. You're with your family. And I said, yeah, I feel lonely because when I need solidarity, it doesn't exist. It exists. And I'm sorry to say this, it exists a great deal for the men out there. It does. It's like there's a boys' club out there that's there for each other.
Yeah.
But when it comes to women, the solidarity comes with ifs and buts, right? So, for instance, the many cases that I have against me, when it comes to me, and as called, also religion plays a big role in this, whether
Right.
people like it or not, and you might diss me for this. But I'm always told that don't make yourself the story. And I tell those people who tell me don't make yourself the story, is that the government out there is trying to make myself the story. The trolls there are trying to make me a story. I am least interested in making my story. All I'm here is to tell the story of those who are privileged. But when I wake up in the morning with multiple notices, I am also human. I break down. I break down and I get anxiety attacks, and I don't see the solidarity coming my way. In fact, I see people kind of the ones like in India, we have this culture now that, all the opposition parties, etc., we have agencies going after them. But when the same agencies go after me, they try to look for the merits in the case, right? In every other case, the merits are overlooked. But in my case, probably she could have done this because you want to believe that I could have done something wrong. In my case, it's like sometimes it feels like people are looking out there with this lens that let us find something wrong with her. Sometimes I used to be very ashamed of sharing the rape and death threats. Now I share them in public, and somebody said, are you trying to seek attention? Are you? And I'm like, okay, so I should suffer in silence.
Yes.
I should keep suffering in silence. I should not speak about it because if I tell the world what I'm going through, then I'm an attention seeker. Then I'm making myself the story. You're not talking about the people who are trying to make me the story, but the moment I assert myself, and it's a very lonely space. And it's a space that I navigate with my therapist. It's a space that I navigate with anxiety pills. It's a space I navigate with antidepressants. It's a space that has cost me my friendships. And it's a space when I talk about loneliness, it's so unreal. I'm writing a book now. It's called The Survivor's Manual, my second book, right? What is loneliness? Loneliness is not just about being alone in a room. Loneliness is some of your closest friends in a city like Bombay not inviting you for a public event because they're scared of what you bring because of who you are and what you represent. That's loneliness. Now, these are the same people who sent you DMs and who sent you love on your birthdays and sent you bouquets and cakes on your birthdays. But when it really matters, they're not there with you because they're too scared to be seen with you. That is loneliness. And there's intellectual loneliness where people are like, there was this stand-up comedian who I ran up to, very popular one. He had met me for the first time, and we were sitting in here itself in Bombay. And I just joined the conversation, and these guys were sitting. And it's like, oh, Rana, there's no Muslim in the room. And I'm like, yeah, there's no Muslim in the parliament either. And I'm like, you wanted to make a joke out of my Muslimness? And he said, oh, come on. What do you do for fun, Rana? I'm like, I've met you for the first time. Why should I tell you what I do for fun? You meet a serious woman and you want to tell her. And then one of my girlfriends said, why did you take it so seriously? Because you see what I stand for is being mocked at, right? It's like what Toni Morrison once said when an interviewer was asking her, but when will you incorporate white people in your story? It's like this, right? When will you talk about the average person? Or James Baldwin being asked, why do you detest white people? They don't detest white people. Speaking about race does not mean that you hate the white people. Speaking about race means that you're asking for equal rights and an end to the atrocities. What I speak about, whether I speak passionately or not, is that I want an equal status for everybody. That does not mean that I'm like, for instance, if somewhere I'll tell you an example right here. If somewhere tomorrow in India, any journalist who's not a Muslim who writes a story about what's happening to Muslims in India, it will be taken objectively. But the moment I write, I'm asked this question. I remember when Gujarat Files released, I was asked, "Did you write the book because you're a Muslim?" And I'm like, see, that's how prejudice works, which is why it's so lonely. Because you do not accord the basic respectability to me that I demand as a human and as a journalist, which is why it feels lonely. And it is a lonely space. Some days when I go to court, I'm alone. And some days I sit in courts with crooks and criminals, and I don't deserve to be there, but I'm there and it's lonely. But what feels even more lonelier is when you leave me to deal with it alone. And when I get some international solidarity, it's like, oh, why is she getting all the international awards? I feel horrible about it. I don't wish to get any of these awards, honestly, if they were not a shield for me and if it was not an acknowledgement of what I was doing, right? So it feels like I have, what is lonely is to have to be constantly be apologetic for your success or for the awards that you get. Like last time I was getting an award, I called my brother and said, do I tweet about that I've got an award? He said, why not? I said, because people will say, she's making it about herself and she doesn't. It's like, can you imagine how they have drilled it down into my psychology that I'm ashamed of doing this?
Yeah, you've absorbed it yourself
I've
now.
absorbed it in my head. I am now scared. Is that their victory? I don't know. But that's how they kind of delegitimize and discredit your work. It make you scared.
But you know, Rana, given that most of the times it feels like it would be safer to stay silent and make your life so much easier, what keeps you going to still share your voice?
I want to put out a tweet this evening, which is a very unsafe tweet to put out, and I've held it. It's in my draft since yesterday, right? And this morning when I woke up and I'm like, okay, what could happen potentially? This morning I got a notice that they're removing, that Delhi police has asked Twitter to remove like 7 of my tweets from 2012. All right, okay, you don't like my tweets from 10 years ago. But I feel like, okay, I'll tweet this, but there will be another case and I don't have the bandwidth for it. But then the third day you are like, there are actual people suffering who do not have your privilege, who are actually dying. And you're thinking about a Twitter mob, the people who are losing their lives. If people back in the day whose journalism I admire had thought on those same lines, we would not have had access to that kind of journalism, which we have today. Right?
So that keeps you going?
I think realizing my privilege keeps me going, that I do not have the privilege of being silent. And I do not have the privilege of looking away. If I did, I would have left journalism and probably I'd be running a restaurant somewhere in Bombay of Azamgarhi food from my native Azamgarh, which I love, or probably South Indian food, and I would have left. If given a choice, I would have wanted an easy life where I wake up, I watch Netflix, I go shopping, I go for a vacation to Goa. I really want to do all those things. I really, really want to do all those things, and my system is craving it. I just don't have the privilege to do it as and when I want it. And it's not like somebody has drilled it saying, you have to do it. I just do not have the ability in me to look away. I wish I could just build a mechanism that says, oh, I insulate myself. I see injustice happening, but I'm not going to look at it. I don't think that has worked with me. I cannot look at injustice and say, that's not my business. It is my business. Because I have the privilege. Because I have the privilege of having a public voice. And it's something where I bring in religion. As a practicing Muslim, I feel like I believe in the day of judgment, and I don't want Allah to ask me by the end of the day, what did you do with the voice that I gave you? Did you protect the marginalized? And it's not just religious marginalized, class marginalized, caste marginalized, the social people on the social ladder. Did you protect them? Spiritually too, I feel like I am not aligned to be a safe person.
I like that. But wow, but I feel like you've built a callus against all of this as well now, right? Because you do, I like how, I'm sure it has its roots in terms of how impactful it is for you, but I like how you just take it in your swing while you're going. And I think that's very commendable.
Some days I really want to cry a
I don't
lot.
know. I mean,
some days I want to cry
need to let
so
it out
much,
some days.
so much that I feel like, can somebody just drown me in tears? Because I feel like, I tell my therapist that, my therapist is normally on Wednesdays. Today I had to give up. So she's rescheduled me for next week. Another sacrifice. But Wednesdays are for crying, and it is so therapeutic.
It is. It's cathartic.
It is cathartic because there is a person who's not judging you and your decisions, and who's listening to you, and who's being empathetic. We really underestimate empathy so much. All it takes is somebody to say, I hear you. That's all you want people to say. I'm hearing you and I'm not judging you for your choices.
Yeah.
I know it must be pretty hard out there. And I know you're doing really well for yourself. And I know you're doing very well given the circumstances. And I know it's going to be better tomorrow. And that's all you want to hear.
That is. And you know what? Most of the times we don't get active listening from people. People always have their phones there, their watch buzzing. So having someone who is giving you their full listening attention is very powerful.
And the best thing came from my father. There was a Twitter hashtag, Rana Ayyub sex CD. All right? A Twitter hashtag. CD, which is like a compact disc, where basically apparently...
They still do CD?
Yeah, this is 2012, right? Okay. So I'd done a very important investigation, and apparently it was a full-blown character assault of mine. That apparently there's a shady video of me with some man, all right? And it ran its course on Twitter the entire day. People were saying, and then they morphed my image on a video. And it was literally, how many people are there in India? 1.4 billion? God knows how many people saw that video. And when I saw that video, I was at a restaurant and I saw that. Can you imagine opening the phone and on WhatsApp, there's a video where your image is morphed on a porn. Even if it's not you, you watch it. And you go and throw up. And then you're like, okay, is everybody around watching me? Is everybody around looking at me? Right? And I went to my father. I called my father and he said, even if it was genuine, I didn't care. Right? And it mattered to me what he said. But somewhere, despite the fact that I called myself a feminist, I was affected. I was affected by what people were thinking about me. I did not step out of my whole house for 3 days, thinking that everybody was watching me. Right? So that's how you discredit women voices, by labeling them promiscuous, loose, women who get their stories the easy way.
Yeah.
Right?
But I love what your dad said.
I love what my dad said. I like what my dad says. He's like, when my mom keeps telling him she should be married, it's like, exactly what is she going to do after marriage? She's going to stop writing. I don't want her to get married. My father is like the feminist, and then he's going to count all the women writers who were never married. Did this person marry? Did this person marry? No. What are you going to achieve out of marrying? He's like, I want a companion for you, but it's not like a binding thing for you to get married. I think my father is a bigger feminist than even my brothers or any of the new age men that I meet. And to think that he was raised in a village of a very conservative family.
But I think to have women like us, it takes the father that's a feminist.
Absolutely. And the mother. My mother was married to my father when she was 16. Oof. She had not seen the city life. She had never seen the outside world. She had never gone to school.
Oh, wow.
And she raised me to be the person that I am. So I am my parents' daughter.
Of course. But now, talking about you mentioned Twitter, WhatsApp, and all of this. I feel like with the rise of social media, the way we receive news has changed a lot, right? Yeah. And I think there's a lot of noise out there. It's really hard to know what is real, what is not real. Do you feel like it has diluted the reality of investigative journalism, or do you feel like it's created new opportunities?
I was going to write a post on my Twitter or my Instagram the other day. It's like, carousels, where basically I was going to say, do you think you're really getting your news because people are telling you what you want to hear, right? It's like somebody posted the other day when Charlie Kirk shooting happened. Oh my God, look at what's happening in America. We are so much better off in India. At least these things don't happen. And I'm like, journalists shouldn't be saying that probably. We have our own problems, right? A lot of times people assume that we are anti-nationals or anti-India. What they don't realize is I love my country more than I love any other entity in the world, right? All I'm trying to do is protect its democratic character, right? Investigative journalism, there are so many times that journalists do not put what they want to put, especially during times of war and conflict, is because there's a lynch mob that will drown you in hate and make you unpopular. And and human psychology is not cut out for being unpopular. Human psychology wants you to be popular. So they will say all the popular things, whereas the unpopular thing is investigative journalism is the truth and facts. Right? Facts are sacrosanct. Facts matter. And when facts take a backseat and the popular version and the sanitized version, which will get you more likes and more shares, becomes the reality, then journalism takes a backseat. So some of us who do the dirty job of posting the unpopular shit will end up getting 10 times less likes. For instance, somebody said, a lot of feedback that I get on my Instagram and Twitter is, okay, you're posting all the critical stuff, but I'm sure the good things also happening. I'm sure, I said, there are enough journalists posting all the good stuff already. And if you want entertainment, go to a circus. You're dealing with a journalist who does this for a living, who speaks for the marginalized. I'm not here to give you, your daily dose of optimism. No, I'm not. I'm here to tell you what is wrong here and what we need to fix. And it's not going to be rosy. It's not going to be glossy. It's going to be blood and gore and injustice. And if you don't like it, which means you're living in a bubble of privilege. And that is the biggest deterrent to investigative journalism over the years. One, we do not have the platforms who continue to do investigative journalism. They're far and few. And the ones who do wake up in the morning, do notices and cases. And three, the biggest bane of investigative journalism and journalism by and large are two things. One, we are scared of losing access to politicians and people in power. And two, you fear that I'm going to be unpopular. Nobody's going to like me anymore. The desire to be liked by everybody. Everybody wants to be liked. Journalists want to be influencers now. And you can't be influencers by doing critical thinking, right?
Of course.
You cannot. And there are a lot of good influencers who are also doing the critical thinking. But the ones who are doing the critical thinking kind of investigative journalism kind of stuff are getting so much of trolling that it becomes difficult. That you know what? I actually realized this in the last 1 year. You start doubting yourself.
Right.
Because it's like a barrage, right? You wake up in the morning. Like, I celebrated my birthday. I was in New York for a lecture and the India-Pakistan conflict happened. And I was in America, of course. So I woke up India time in the evening when it was 12 hours. There were at least, if you go on the day the attack happened, there were 2,000 comments saying, oh, the bitch has gone silent because Pakistan has been attacked. She has not spoken. And I'm like, dude, I'm waking up American time. I have missed 10 hours. I have to frame something. But by that time, my inbox was inundated and influencers tagged me saying, today she's not going to comment. Today she's going to be silent. My patriotism was judged in those 10 hours of quiet when I was in America. And then everybody's saying, stuff like, you have to prove your patriotism to the country. It's not about doing your journalism. That's where I felt like, and then I wrote a piece in the Washington Post. I don't know whether India won or Pakistan won. I know that facts were the ultimate casualty because everybody was trying to be popular.
Wow.
Journalists do not have the task of holding the national flag. We are patriotic. You have the task of taking the government of the day to account for the welfare of your citizens. You're not here to talk about how patriotic I am. You're here to say, I'm patriotic, which is why it is my right to call out the people in power and do the right thing. That is investigative journalism. And I think that has taken a huge hit.
Wow. Well, Rana, I have learned so much from you today. I'm so sad we're running out of time. But the final question I have for you is, now that you've had such a rich, whether it is positive, negative, a rich adventure through the 20 years or so of being in the journalism world, if you could go back in time and speak to 19-year-old Rana who was about to enter the newsroom for the first time, what would you tell her about how to survive this profession?
If I were to go back to the 19-year-old Rana, I would tell her, do not take everything personally. It's not about you. It's really not about you. It's going to be a difficult world out there. They didn't prepare you for it. But you are not what people tell you you are. You are the person you wake up every morning to and answer to yourself. You are not answerable to anyone in the world. You are not going to give excuses for being who you are. I did. I was apologetic many a times for my own success. I was a people pleaser. I'll tell myself, don't be a people pleaser. Do your thing. It's okay to rattle a few people here and there. And what people say about you is not the truth about you.
And it's not your
business. Nobody needs to know your reality. Nobody needs to know your truth. That's fine. Just be authentic and don't fear judgment. I did fear judgment for a few years in my life, and even now I fear. I mean, I would be lying if I say I what is written about me does not affect me. It does affect me a lot. I'd be lying. I'd be lying through my teeth if I say, hey, I don't care about the criticism that it comes against me. But to a 19-year-old Rana, I would say, you're doing the right thing by being unpopular.
Well, Rana, thank you so much for being with us today.
My pleasure.
We are very proud of everything you're doing. Please keep doing what you can for us and everyone else in the world and being the voice of the underrepresented.
Thank you so much.
And I can't wait to keep seeing the amazing work that you do.
Thank you so much. I look forward to it.
Thank you.